humble obeisances at the lotus feet of my Diksha and Shiksha Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Satarasata Sisima, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Then let me offer my humble obeisances unto my first Shiksha Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Satarasata Sisima, Srila Gauragovinda Goswami Maharaj. Then let me offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my sannyas and Shiksha Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Satarasata Sisima, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada, and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And I offer my humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who have attended this Pure Bhakti Academy arranged by Brajanath Prabhu and Jasodanandan Prabhu. Dandavat pranams to one and all. First of all, let me say what a complete privilege it is for me to be here today, to speak with all of you. I feel very honored by the opportunity to be able to express some of the knowledge which I have gathered over many years of my life in Sankhya philosophy, Bhakti, Ayurveda, etc. I am very humbled by the fact that you are so kind to come and hear what I have to speak about these topics. Thank you very much. Here we see the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, dancing in Braj. This is our ultimate goal. The title of this course is Sankhya, Ayurveda and Bhakti. Ultimately, Bhakti is the goal. Pure Bhakti, Uttam Bhakti. To be in Braj, serving the divine couple. The path to achieving this is through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Mahavadanaya avatar, whose Audarya has given us Uno Ujjvala Rasa Svabhakti Swayam, which was not yet given by anyone ever before. So our respects also unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, here in the Dham in which he immersed himself in Vipralambha Bhav. To His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who delivered this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the order of his Guru to every far corner of the world. And here is Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who, following in the footsteps of his Shiksha Guru, traveled to all the corners of the earth to, again, remind us of what we had forgotten that Prabhupada had given us. So what is Sankhya? This is from Srila Prabhupada's commentary on the second chapter, 39th verse of the Bhagavad Gita. According to the Nirukti, or the Vedic dictionary, Sankhya means that which describes phenomena, meaning material phenomena, in detail. And Sankhya refers to that philosophy which describes the real nature of the soul. So this is Prabhupada's very practical definition of Sankhya. Now, Srila Gurudev, commenting on the same verse, second chapter, 39th verse, in purport, he describes Sankhya in a little bit different manner, more poetically, with Sanskrit. That which properly illuminates the nature, tattva, of an object is called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga gives complete knowledge about the Atma, soul, and Anatma, inert matter. So here we see the two explanations by the two acharyas of the meaning of Sankhya. So we will be discussing Sankhya from Kapila's, Lord Kapila Dev's discussion with his mother Devahuti in the third canto later in the week. And today we're going to discuss a few other things. Ayurveda. The word Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word meaning knowledge of the science of life. Ayu means life or daily living, and Veda means knowledge or knowing. Ayurveda was first spoken by Lord Brahma after he created the Vedas, the four Vedas, and is considered one of the four Upavedas. There are four Upavedas: Ayurveda, Jyotirveda, Dhanurveda, and Vastu. It was handed down to the rishis like Atreya and Bharadwaj, and to the demigods like Indra and the Ashwini Kumara twins. The Shaktavesh avatar Dhanvantari, after appearing from the ocean of milk, brought the science to earth. Ayurveda is considered by the World Health Organization as a holistic system of medicine that is indigenous to and widely practiced in India. Bhakti Yoga. This is from Srila Gurudev's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, in which he very expertly captures the essence of the commentaries of Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, expressing the penultimate definition of Uttam Bhakti in this verse. The cultivation of activities. This is the 11th verse of the actual Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The cultivation of activities that are meant exclusively for the pleasure of Sri Krishna, or in other words, the uninterrupted flow of service to Sri Krishna, performed through all endeavors of the body, mind, and speech, and through the expression of various spiritual sentiments, or bhavs, which is not covered by jnana, impersonal liberation seeking, and karma, reward seeking activity, and which is devoid of all desires other than the aspiration to bring happiness to Sri Krishna, is called Uttam Bhakti, pure devotional service. So now you have the definitions of the three topics that we're going to discuss. We're going to be discussing Sankhya, we're going to be discussing Ayurveda, and we're going to be discussing Bhakti. These are the definitions of these three, and this can help you to have an insight into what we're going to cover over the course of the seminar. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada shortens this verse into one sutra. The tendency to give pleasure to Krishna is bhakti. The tendency to give pleasure to Krishna is bhakti. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his poem, in his song, Rajendra Sutta, he says that Krishna's sole happiness is to give pleasure to Srimati Radhika. Krishna's sole pleasure. So the tendency to give pleasure to Krishna is bhakti, and Krishna's sole pleasure is to give happiness to Radha. So Radha Dasyam, which was given to us by Srila Prabhupada, by Srila Gurudev, is the beautiful expression of the ultimate meaning of Uttam Bhakti. So the first thing we're going to discuss is some historical, scriptural and scientific information, some archaeological evidence about the ancient nature of Vedic culture, some scriptural evidence about how modern science today is only reflecting what was already expressed thousands of years ago in the ancient Ayurvedic texts. So, and also in the Bhakti text. So we're going to be doing two presentations. This is the first is about Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa are ancient cities in what's called the Indus Valley Civilization. And the Indus Valley Civilization covers what you see here: northwestern India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and southern Iran. That was the Indus Valley Civilization. And Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were two of the main cities, major cities, and you'll notice there's a river which is running through there, which doesn't really exist anymore. That's the ancient Saraswati River. And it is believed that when the Saraswati dried up, that the Indus Valley Civilization also dried up, and that's why people left. The Indus Valley Civilization, was uncovered and discovered by the British Archaeological Survey back in 1921, when they did the excavations in this area. And when they were excavating, it was very unusual, because when you go layer by layer down in an archaeological excavation, the civilization usually becomes more primitive. What was happening here is that the civilization was becoming more advanced. And when they saw that, they became alarmed. They thought, what are we uncovering here? This is obviously something, very unique, a unique find. And when they got to the bottom, they uncovered an amazing, group of cities that were very, very well organized, developed, and we're going to show you some pictures and you'll see about it. The carbon dating goes back to approximately 5,000 years. More modern carbon dating and readings of the Vedas by Georg Feuerwith, who is an archaeologist from Germany, and Dr. David Frawley, who is a Vamandev Shastri of the Vedas by Varanasi University, Banaras Hindu University, have uncovered information to show that this is more likely to be about 7,000 years old. This area. We'll also talk about Subhash Kak later on in his discovery of the relationship between the ancient Indus Valley script and Sanskrit. Here's an aerial view of the city. You see the streets there, organized. This is the foundations of the buildings that were there, and it's also the large bathing ghat, public bathing ghat. Here you see, from a side view, Mohenjo-daro. You see the foundations, you see the people walking on the foundations of what were previously the buildings. This is the ancient temple in Mohenjo-daro, which is up on the hill. Later on you'll see how that is situated in relationship to the actual city. These are the granaries. They found barley, wheat, and rice grains in these granaries. So it's understood that they have been eating these grains for thousands of years. This is a more traditional Western-style granary in Harappa, silo. They found wheat and rice grains in this granary as well. Here you see the broad street. That's the large street that was in the middle that divides the residential area from the public buildings area, which the public buildings surrounded the bathing ghat. And you'll see on the right-hand side along the edge is a sewer system. And the white next to it, the black is the actual trowel of the sewer, and the white is the cover. It's actually a covered sewer system. They had covers over the sewers 5,000 years ago. This is a narrow street view in Harappa, and here is an outer passage from a home. Now here's an actual close-up of the bathing ghat, the public bath. You see there's many ways to access it, either by wheel or by the steps. And there's the temple in the background and the bathing ghat in the front. You can see that. And this gives you an idea of how the entire city was set up. Now what you see in the center there is part of the drainage system, the sewage system. Waters would flow. As you see, the earth is pitched to go inside that sewer system. This shows you a little bit about the advancement they had in their civilization, that in different areas they had drainage systems like this, in which all the effluence would go down and then eventually go into those troughs, and I'll show you how that works. Here is a 5,000-year-old toilet. And this is, as you see there in the front, you do your business on the top, and then in the front you pour water, and then on the right it pitched downward. And now you're going to see in the next picture, that toilet's up there in the left-hand corner. It's coming down, and then it comes through a series of drainage systems. And this is a public toilet, which also has a drainage system. And then eventually you see the little drains going into the larger drain, and everything drains into the sewage system. So this is a very advanced civilization. They had a very high level of sanitation, hygiene, well-developed roads and sewer systems, which could rival what we have in modern civilization today. Here you see the Brahma bull with the Indus Valley script along the top. This is a seal, a symbol. On the far right, the script is a U. You see the U there. And you're going to see that U show up again and again and again. The script was taken by Dr. Subhash Kak, who's a computer analyst and a linguist from University in New Orleans. And what he did was he matched up the Sanskrit letters with the Indus Valley script letters, and he found that there is a very compatible relationship between the particular symbols and how often they appear along with the different vowels and consonants. And here you see a unicorn. And this is obviously a royal symbol. Again, you see the U in the middle. You see flags over the top of the unicorn, and you see the umbrella underneath the unicorn's neck. So this is some royal symbol. And the unicorn was obviously considered a royal animal. Here you see a rhinoceros. And again, you see that U up at the top. This is another Indus Valley symbol. And then you see the yogi image of, this is considered the the five-headed Shiva sitting in a yoga position. You see the different animals, tigers, elephants, buffaloes, cows, and on the bottom, the rat. So you see the different animals that are used in Vedic culture. Now these are all the different symbols. If you look at the one on the bottom lower right, and you look at the designs in that sequence, the one at the very bottom, you'll see designs there that are very similar to some of the Aztec designs in South America, and very familiar kinds of symbols. So there must have been some kind of connection. I don't know if you remember, of course everyone remembers that 2012 end of the world kind of thing. But back in 1986 there was something called the harmonic convergence, in which everything was supposed to be aligned for the 25-year countdown to 2012. And the day that the harmonic convergence appeared astrologically in the Mayan, Aztec, and Hopi calendars, it was Janmashtami in India on the same day. So there is some connection between the ancient calendars. Here you see a contract written in ancient Chinese for grains. So there was trade between the Chinese and the Indus Valley civilization. Also, about 2,500 years ago, before Christ, when Rome was, flourishing, the Roman Empire was flourishing about during that period as it was developing, maybe 2,300 years ago. There was one Roman senator, Pliny, the naturalist, who was a botanist. And he complained in the Roman Senate, it's in the annals of the Roman Senate, that the gold was being drained from the treasury of the Roman treasury and being sent to India to purchase herbs and spices, many of which could be grown in the southern part of Italy, and we could save gold in that way. So we see there was trade between Rome and the ancient Indian civilization and China and the ancient Indian civilization. Here is a deity of a mother goddess, not sure which one, but this is a statue of a royal personage. Here's jewelry. We see that there's semi-precious stones and silver, and here's a necklace. And here's some pottery. In one of the places, one of the rooms in Mohenjo-daro, they found a number of clay pots. And in the clay pots, they found different herbs. So they could understand it was like some kind of pharmacy. One of the herbs they found was neem. So we know that neem has been used since 5,000 years back in the time of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. And this pot comes from Mohenjo-daro. So yeah, well designed. There's another one. This is another terracotta pot. Both of these are from the finds in Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. And neem has been shown in Germany in clinical studies that it can be useful in curing malaria when chloroquine-resistant forms of malaria and chloroquine-sensitive forms of malaria were not, chloroquine was not useful. Neem came in, killed the malaria. So this, all this information, there's a lot of information about Ayurveda that was given by Will Durant in his book, Our Oriental Heritage, Story of Civilization. It's a many-part series, and this is the many books in that. And the first book is called Our Oriental Heritage. In there he describes how Ayurveda has over 125 surgical instruments and 8 divisions of medicine and different things of that nature, which we're going to discuss and show you in the course of this. Here's a discussion about chemistry in the Sushruta Samhita, and how to take certain well-grown trees in the forest, cut them into logs, pile them in place, and burn them extract the ashes, and then mix them with lime water and lye, separate the precipitated by filtration, a solution that is concentrated to different extent, boiling, and is possible to get dilute, mild, caustic alkali. So here it gives a description of how to create caustic alkali.
Which is?
Huh?
What is that?
Alkaline's the opposite of
Alkaline substance for, in chemistry, we use alkaline substances for certain chemical reactions and activities. Can be used internally, externally. And then you have in Sushruta-Samhita explanation of blood circulation. The very subtle energy from the well-digested food called ratha, the nourisher liquid, is placed in the heart. From the heart to 24 arteries. It satisfies, nourishes, supports, and maintains the entire body day after day, propelled by an unseen act. This is an ancient surgical instrument, not from Mohenjo-daro. This is only from about the 1400s. Plastic surgery of the nose, described in Sushruta-Samhita. You'll notice it says 500 BC. It's understood that Sushruta-Samhita, the earliest recorded evidence they have of Sushruta-Samhita, is 500 BC, or 2,500 years ago. So here it describes how to perform plastic surgery of the nose, much like you would find in a modern medical text, except that instead of using leaves, we use plastic. Here's a description of how to perform intestinal surgery in Sushruta-Samhita. How to make a 4-finger wide incision near the navel, then how to take the intestines out, how to extract them, remove the stones, hair, fecal matter, etc. Any blockages, then smear the intestine with honey and clarified butter. So honey and ghee were considered acceptable to be used internally in the body in surgical activities. Place the intestine in the original position and then stitch the external wound.
What was they used for anesthetic?
They would use probably opium. That was what they were using in those days. Then you employ the needle on the left side, leaving out, this is how to remove a kidney stone. Employ the needle on the left side, leaving out only a grain of space. Some say, for the convenience of the operation, employ a knife on the right side, leaving out a bladder stone size space. Attempt such that the bladder stone is not broken or powdered. Even if a small quantity of the particle remains, it would again grow. But here you see, in the Sushruta-Samhita, the performance of surgical procedures that we only learned how to perform thousands of years later here in the West. So the science of Ayurveda is a great, great science. Here's some drawings based on the descriptions in the Sushruta-Samhita of all the ancient surgical instruments. And you see there are forceps and sounds and scalpel and different things that were used. All right, so that's the first one. And now the next one that we're going to do is the development of the child in the womb. This is a very interesting display. It's a photographic review with comparisons of modern medical texts with ancient Ayurvedic medical texts and the traditional Bhakti text of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We're going to show you how modern science is describing the development of the child in the womb month by month, and how that matches with the ancient texts in Ayurveda, and how that matches with the ancient Srimad Bhagavatam. A very interesting comparison study shows the connection between the Upavedas and the Vedas. 5,000 years ago, part of India's ancient wisdom traditions included Ayurveda, a medical system that rivals modern medicine. The system flourished simultaneously and synergistically with a scientifically based spiritual culture that revealed the deepest mysteries of the material universe and what lies beyond it. The following presentation gives us a glimpse into one small aspect of India's ancient but modern wisdom traditions. Charak Samhita. The embryo is produced of the soul. Now here you see right away the difference between a modern medical text and the Ayurvedic medical text is that they attribute the development of the embryo and life. Life comes from life, what Prabhupada has always taught us. So this is in ancient Ayurveda. The self of embryo is the internal soul, which is known as Jiva, source of life. The soul is also known as the ever-continuing, devoid of illness, old age, death, and decay. Not subjected to incision, excision, agitation, having universal forms and actions, unmanifest, beginningless, as well as endless and without any transformation. When the combination of sperm, ovum, and soul is implanted in the womb, it is known as the embryo. Now we look at the Bhagavad Gita. For the soul there is never birth nor death, nor having once been, has he ever ceased to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. The soul is indivisible, insoluble, and cannot be burned or dried. He is external, all-pervasive, permanent, non-moving, and ever-existing. He is imperceptible, inconceivable, and being free from the 6 types of transformation, such as birth and death, is immutable. So here you see the explanation in the Gita and the explanation in Charak Samhita are very similar. Same information is being given. So the ancient Ayurvedic texts were based on spiritual principles. The personality of Godhead said, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord and according to the result of his work, the living entity, the soul, is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of male semen to assume a particular type of body. And there are many different ways how the soul enters. When I do a seminar with a PowerPoint presentation on reincarnation, and I go over all the different ways that the soul transmigrates from the lower planets, from the higher planets, through the animals. It's a whole thing that I give. But we're not going to do that here right now. Well, just to give you one example, like from the heavenly planets. When the living entity goes to the heavenly planets, when a soul achieves Swarga. So the heavenly planets is a completely different existence from here. This is Karmastan, so there are rules. You just like we have rules in Bhakti, you're not allowed to have intoxication, you have one spouse, you have no alcohol, no meat, fish, or eggs, etc., etc. There are all kinds of rules that you have to follow. There's no rules in Swarga. Swarga is your vacation. You know, it's like